want you to imagine the silent brightness of a lightning bolt. Pause, and you may miss it. A second later, boom! There's the power of the thunder. That same kind of power is what I want to talk about with gratitude, one of the most amazing virtues you can imagine. And that kind of power can change your life and those around you. Now, I've had an incredible life, filled with wonder, joy, all kinds of fun. Whether it's climbing through the Andes in central Chile with my family, enjoying Tet in Vietnam, or enjoying the view of Paris from the top of the Eiffel Tower, or actually watching the Giants kick the butt of the Tigers in the 2012 World Series. And then, of course, there's the ultimate, watching my grandchildren grow up. I've been blessed many times over in my 70 years. Now, I've been very fortunate. I was taught gratitude at an early age, didn't really know what was happening. When my mother taught me very vividly at about the age of 10 to send out thank you cards for the slightest kindness that was shown to me. I didn't do this because it was gratitude. I was taught to do this because it was the polite thing to do. She taught me resilience. She taught me perseverance by example, by focusing on what I had and not what I didn't have. Now, little did I know the impact that these things were going to have in my later life, nor that it was going to have on the people that I would touch. Throughout my life, I played the cards that I had been dealt. Some good, some bad. It didn't really matter what they were. I played them the way they were dealt. I made mistakes, lots of them, more than my fair share. But I always feel like I came away a winner. I had a great life. I had a wonderful family, an incredible career. I had helped dozens of people succeed. I had good health. I was athletic, did all kinds of things, great neighborhoods, everything. I even ran a couple of marathons. In fact, it was after the first time I ran the New York City Marathon that things began to change. I hadn't even finished, and I was feeling so euphoric. Even though my legs hurt, my muscles ached, I knew I was going to run the next year. As I was training for that marathon, my ankle began to swell, and I knew there was something wrong because it wouldn't go away. Go to the doc, and the doc says, come back in 2 weeks. And of course, I went back in a month. Well, by the time I get there, it seems I've got 20 blood clots in my leg, and I'm 5 weeks in the hospital. Over the ensuing 8 years, I try to run it 2 more times, and 2 more times the same thing happens. And it turns out that I've got a previously undiscovered blood disease that I'm going to be on medication for the rest of my life. So, a parade of other health issues come up, some of them life-threatening. Heart failure, kidney failure, diabetes, but nothing is as painful or as life-altering as diabetic peripheral neuropathy. Now, by 2010, this thing is just almost insurmountable. I'm coming home sometimes from work in so much pain, I'm close to crying. And I have to say, I did not come from a moneyed background. So as I built my business, I took thousands of rejections. So here I am, 32 years in my career, 55 years old, and in a good year, I'm making 7 figures. But I'm looking at having to quit because the pain is so difficult to deal with. I love my job. I couldn't wait until Mondays. And if I could work, I'd still be working today. But as I sit in front of you right now, I've got to explain. I can't feel my hands from here down. I can't feel my legs from here down. The pain can only be described as being attacked by knives and daggers. This has been going on since 2007, but I'm telling you, it can be dealt with because of the things that I've learned about gratitude. Anyway, I sink into a depression. I sink into a sinkhole of depression. and the pain is taking over not just my body, but my mind and soul as well. Thank God I've had mentors in my life. And one of those mentors is Pat Madigan. Now, staying with today's theme, Pat Madigan, if you will, is the paradox. He's how would I say this? He's the ace-high flush in saving me from a losing game. So he's such a great mentor to me. One of my visits, I find out that he's got ALS. And if you know anything about ALS, it's also called Lou Gehrig's disease, and many of you in the crowd probably are more familiar with it because of Stephen Hawking. It's a neurological disease that interferes with your brain's ability to deal with your nervous system. Now, you never saw Pat. In the 7 years that I watched Pat deal with this, he never once complained out of self-pity, why me? All I saw from Pat and his family was positivity as they dealt with this disease. Their concerns with me and our discussions were about how I was dealing with things. And they continued to talk about how I could help pull myself out of my problems. And we looked at the things that made me successful. We looked at the things that I could do better. And we looked at my background, and we looked at the number of stumbles that I had made over my lifetime. And it seemed that what I needed was something to help me focus on getting out of bed in the morning and to build something that was bigger than myself. To look at things that helped me get up and what made my characteristics and what would make me perform better. And that led me to look at things that's from the Stoics and look at gratitude. And when you look at these things, we look at Marcus Aurelius, we look at Cicero, Epictetus, we look at different things that come back from Seneca. As we go through that, it finally made it clear to what my mom had talked about so many years ago. There was a reason why this resilience had played such a role, as I watched her die at 44 of cancer. It made it clear why I had overcome the death of 9 friends before I got out of college. The ability for gratitude to help you overlook the problems, help you deal with anxiety, to help you deal with stress, to help you deal with things from a positive perspective, even though you're looking at these terrible things that would probably slow down other people, because they help you look around or over the valleys onto the next mountain. When I talk to people that I admire, and I ask them what makes them happy, what makes them the people they are today, they rarely tell me it's good things. What they typically come back to is it's a challenge. It's something that made them the loss of a loved one, the death of someone, the loss of a job, the loss of a vocation, something that they had to be challenged by. And you've probably experienced this yourselves. These are the things that make people. It's what Seneca says when he talks about the challenges that we face don't make the man. It makes them realize who they are. As you face the world, look at these challenges that you are given and accept them for what they are, opportunities to grow, opportunities to make you better going forward. So, I can only tell you to look forward, and I can only share with you things that have happened that I would ask you to do to make you feel positive. I'll give you two examples, 2 suggestions. Dopamine, in the short term, neurologists, neuroscientists tell us, the moment you express gratitude, dopamine and serotonin rush into our brain, giving you a positive feeling that will last from minutes to hours. The next thing, if you practice any kind of gratitude, written journals, any kind of written exercise, that will give you gratitude habit within 3 to 4 weeks. So that gives us one exercise. In the evening, if you will write down 4 things, 5 things that made you feel grateful during the day and why, you'll develop a habit that will cause you to look at things gratefully, easily, and make even the worst day at least a little bit positive. Second thing, and I would ask you to just think about it from this perspective. You want to just throw this chart up for me real quick, or this slide up? This occurred to me just a couple of months ago, or a couple of weeks ago actually. This came in totally out of the blue. I received this card unsolicited from somebody I'd hired 20 years ago. This is one of my favorite gratitude exercises to do. And it's a multiplier effect of gratitude. If you think for a moment about somebody that you care about, that you haven't talked to in the last 2 or 3 years, we've got some cards out for you out in the lobby. But if you think about it, there are people in your past that you haven't talked to in a while. In this particular case, this gentleman heard that I had my foot amputated a couple of months ago, and he just dropped this card in the mail to me. And I'd like you to think about how you might have felt writing this card. And then I'd like you to think for a moment how you might have felt receiving the card. And so I would ask you to think about the same thing, because we've got the cards for you in the lobby if you'd like, where you could write the same thing to somebody and get the same feelings of how it feels to feel that dopamine as you write this gratitude letter to somebody. Let them know how you feel about them. Let them know what they've meant to you in your life. And then, several days later, they feel that same excitement in their chest as they realize how much they've meant to you, and they get a chance to feel that multiplier effect of the gratitude that you've passed on to them. Thank you.